The PFL has just bought Bellator, and I see a lot of people saying online, "Oh, like Dana's worried." And I was watching Helwani, and then the owner, I'm not sure if it's the owner, but some of PFL was saying, "Oh, Dana doesn't talk about stuff unless he's worried." People were asking him fucking questions like this. This is people think that Bellator and PFL merging together, it's creating these super fights, and we're seeing champ versus champ, and no one cares, bro. No one gives a fuck, bro. PFL doesn't even have middleweight. It doesn't even have fucking middleweight, bro. You know what I mean? Like this. They really should know their boundaries here. They're not going to compete with the UFC. Ever. No one will. No one ever has. No one's come close. If you think the two B leagues combining together to make one bigger fucking B league is going to compete with the UFC, you're deluded. You're absolutely deluded. Doesn't matter if Ngannou's there. Doesn't matter if Jake Paul is there. Doesn't matter if they have Bellator fighters now. No one cares, bro. There's a small percentage of I'm going to watch, because I love the sport. This is my passion. The sport itself is my passion. But if there's a champ versus champ PFL fight on versus a champ versus champ UFC fight on, I don't give a fuck about the PFL fight. I'm watching the UFC one. Even if it's a decent UFC card, I'm watching that instead. The UFC is so much bigger. Everything about it. Octagon, the camera angles, the kits, the fighters. It's all just way better than the PFL and Bellator combined. They are literally combined now and still won't do shit. There's some interesting factors. You know, Ngannou is over there. Jake Paul might fight. Now he's signed, so he's gonna fight someone. Ngannou's there, but Ngannou in the PFL, mate, he was beating everyone in the UFC, and you think anyone in the PFL is going to stand a chance? You know what I mean? They have to. I saw Deontay Wilder might be fighting, but will they do that? No. One leg kick and he'd break his fucking leg. Have you seen how skinny his legs are? You know what I mean? He's not a big. Wilder's not a big heavyweight. He's tall, but he's lean. Ngannou's fucking jacked. And anyone that's saying this is a real. I seen the Weasel say it, and I seen a few other people say it. That Patchy Mix, the Bellator champion, Bellator bantamweight champion, would beat Sean O'Malley. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't, bro. That is a statement I do not understand. He beat Sergio Pettis. Good win. Pettis was a flyweight. Pettis was a flyweight in the UFC and never done shit. You know, he was literally known for being Anthony Pettis' brother while he was in the UFC. He became Bellator champion, fair play to him. He made a name then. But Sergio Pettis, he never won shit in the UFC. He never won fucking nothing. He had room and slots. James Gallagher. Horiguchi was a good win. Horiguchi was a solid win. I'll give him that much. He's a good fighter, Patchy Mix. And he'd be good in the UFC. But mate, if you think he's beating O'Malley or even a Sandhagen, there's no chance. I've seen Patchy Mix fight live. His striking is so mid, and he's people don't understand. Aljamain Sterling couldn't get Sean O'Malley down. Aljamain Sterling's the best grappler, submission artist in bantamweight. Patchy Mix is very good at submissions and grappling, but he wouldn't beat a Sandhagen. He wouldn't. O'Malley be so much better on the feet. I don't think people understand how mid Patchy Mix striking is. He knocked out Slots with a knee. That's not really his boxing or striking. If this was straight stand-up, mate, Sugar would do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And then you have people. This one isn't the worst shout. Johnny Eblen versus Sean Strickland. I still don't think he'd win. I just cannot get behind any Bellator champion being the best in the world. I can't. Usman Nurmagomedov, great fighter. great fighter, but he's a cheat. He's failed for roids, and he's fighting B leagues. He said, I remember seeing interviews like, there's too many Nurmagomedovs in the UFC. I want to be in Bellator. But you're never going to find out if you're the best then. Bellator and PFL are B leagues. They're second tier, end of story. You know what I mean? There's a reason the UFC is where it is. You can say it was always on top. You ain't going to see a fucking UFC partner with PFL. You know what I mean? They're too big. The fighters are too big. It's the best organization within the sport by a country mile. Best fighters, everything. So, will this affect the UFC? No. Not fucking one bit. Unless they can do, like, Ngannou, Wilder, like, them kind of super fights regularly? No. Because people buy the zone. I think the PFL is still on the zone. Buy it on the zone. Let's say it is on the zone. I'm not 100% sure if it still is, but I think it is. Buy the pay-per-view for the zone. Watch the fight and let me know. They'll never watch the PFL again. Brendan Loughnane is another example. You know, he's probably the biggest name in the PFL apart from Ngannou. He's definitely up there. He got knocked out a few months ago, and then he was claiming he could beat Volk. He wanted to fight Volk. You know, all these B leagues, man. Like it's just people who say this are trying to be hardcore. So they're trying to make themselves out to be hardcore. It's like saying a championship striker would do class in the Premier League. Oh, he'd be better than Haaland. Like, what the fuck are you on about? It's the B leagues, man. That's what Bellator begins with B for a reason. They are literally partnering with PFL because they can't afford to stay afloat. Does that sound like an organization that has the best fighters in the world? No. I'll leave it at that.